Hey everyone, this is Chef. Welcome back to Planet Zoo. Welcome back to Empirical Sahara, arid African desert themed zoo. In the last episode, we built a shelter for our sandcats. And I will tell you right now, I don't like it, and I think I'm going to change it. We're not going to change it today, and I may not even change it on the stream, but I am going to change the way that it works. The issue that I have with it is that it is too tall. I don't like how flat this surface is, and there's realistically two ways that I could go about changing that. The first thing that we could do is we could add a bunch of posts in the middle of the exhibit. We could have it kind of be a tent with two sides where the mesh comes down on the back and it shortens up a little bit in the back. The other thing that we could do is we could just make it a square. And I think I'm just going to make it a square. I may also bump the back up a little bit so that it doesn't look like a gigantic rectangle. Hey, this is a pretty big habitat. How are we doing on space requirements for you guys overall in here? We're at 616 out of 200. So we could afford to move a lot of this stuff up a little bit and consolidate the size of this habitat, because that's going to leave us more room in the back for if we decide to expand our keeper hut and staff room. But we're not going to do that today. We're going to do that later on. What we're going to do today is we're going to add two exhibits. One of them is going to be a rework of the way that the African Spurred Tortoise habitat is. And then the other one is we're going to add an exhibit animal here. I'm not sure which one yet. There are two in the desert that we could think about adding. We go desert, exhibit, Africa. We could do desert horned viper. Could also do sacred scarab beetle. I think I might do the Sacred Scarab Beetle back here, and then way in the front by like the info booths, we have room for a little exhibit right here, and that might be something interesting for guests to look at as they're on the way into the zoo. But either way, we are going to hide one of those inside this sandcat shelter, because again, this shelter, this whole habitat is like 3 times as big as it actually needs to be. So, 2 projects today. I don't think either of them are going to take a super long time. The African Spurred Tortoise habitat in particular, I think it's going to come together really quickly. So let's get to work on that. Now my goal here, I'm not going to net this one. We are not doing any more mesh work. We are taking a break from mesh work for the time being. Maybe forever, maybe not. We'll see. But what I do want this habitat to look like is I want it to look like a little pit. I want to line the outside with rocks. So we'll have a barrier. We'll have like a very simple, crude fence that is going to keep guests from like walking into the habitat. That is going to keep them from throwing items into the habitat. But then inside of that, I want to sink this entire habitat down. And I want to make it look like it's in a little depression in the ground. So we'll get rid of all of this. We'll get out our push tool. I would like to see where the barriers are for this. And then put me at like a 40 intensity and put me like an 8 size. We're just going to push the middle of it down. Something maybe a little less severe than that. Let's smooth it a bit and bring it back up. Maybe something like that. So they've got like a little basin. Go ahead and get our rocks in as well. So we can set up the basic kind of shape that this is going to have. Like desert rocks, sort by descending price, because I want the big ones in here. Maybe for a bit of a color change, we can use some red in here too. I want it to stand out a little bit from the Fennec foxes. And we're going to drag these down until they're just poking out of the front without really poking out of the back. And we can definitely have random rotation on for this. So there's going to be a lot of manual height adjustment for these, which is a little annoying. I'm also finding that I want the terrain drop in front to be a little more severe. And then we can grab a point a little further back and we can flatten the foundation. That's much closer to what I was envisioning. Perfect. This rock may also be too wide. What if we use a smaller rock? That's too sharp. You might be really good, actually. So we'll bring it up here. Yeah. All right, this is what we want. So we're going to grab these like this. We're just slowly going to pull them around the outside of this habitat. This is going to be the real barrier that is going to hold these tortoises in. So we don't want to give them any kind of ramps or avenues or paths to be able to climb up these. For them, on their little tortoise legs, we want this to look like an impenetrable wall. And then on the top, we'll just have a little bit of decorative fence. And that's going to be how this one comes together. I didn't check space requirements on this, and hopefully that's not going to come back to bite me. But I can't imagine that an African tortoise needs a ton of space. And if they do, I have a little bit of room that I could push the habitat back there. It is going to destroy my guest's ability to actually see into the habitat, and I'm sure I'm going to get lots of complaints about how the view of the African tortoises from here is not that great. However, I would rather make my animals happy first and my visitors happy second. Let's keep bringing you around here. And then it is going to slide back a bit like this, because we need it to slope down from the keeper gate anyway. So we'll pop this one up a little bit, but we're going to have an actual wall back there. It's not just going to be rocks all the way around. And then over here, we'll do the same thing. We'll pull these up so we've got a cleaner join between this habitat and the Fennec Fox Canyon. We want these to look cohesive, like they're part of the same environment. And then the terrain is gradually sloping down as we move down this way. So we will keep pulling our rocks down in kind. Good. We get a little bit of color variation in here now. Maybe with a smaller rock. Something like this, maybe. Let's add a little bit of non-uniformity to the habitat. Make it look like it's not all just one rock type pasted over and over again. Make it look like it's two rock types pasted over and over again. Yes. And there's no real method to the madness here. It's just finding places where you think they're going to look nice, and then not spending too much time on it outside of that. I think we've said it a few times before when we're working on this, but sometimes there is beauty in imperfections. And if you just add a little bit of variation without thinking too hard about it, you can wind up with something. It looks very nice overall. We will definitely need to make sure that they cannot climb that, though. So that's going to be rough shape. In terms of the fence, I think I'm just going to grab this one, because I really like how this one came out. I like this as kind of a staff area fence that really delineates the guest-facing sections of the zoo from the staff-facing sections of the zoo. And while it is going to be visible back here, that's okay. We will want to line this up with the keeper gate. We're going to need to rotate that fence around a little bit too. So let's put it here. And then we can decouple you from your current group. And we can make a new group out of you. Split you. Enter group edit. No, don't enter group edit. You don't need to. Move you down. You missed a piece of fence, but that's okay. It looks like it was fairly redundant anyway. And then because tortoises are fairly low to the ground, I think we actually want to get rid of this bottom piece. Hey, first of all, this whole thing can go down. You can bring it down to like here, and then can I get a plank? Just a wood plank, the thick plank, if you could. There it is. Angle snap, random rotation off. Rotate you like this. Rotate you like this. This is going to be our little turtle barrier. Actually, that's going to be prohibitively expensive. Let's just use concrete instead. Or mud. We're already using this mud wall theming in a couple other places in the zoo. Yeah, that helps this look a little bit more cohesive. So you can go like this. We won't actually need this. You can be added to this group as well. Edit you. This can go. We're not going to need that anymore. And then on top of you, I want to add a little bit of mesh. Just the 0.5. Just like this much. It's a very, very simple fence to hold it in. So yes, we borrowed this fence from the camels, and then we changed like 60% of it. A plank. Thin plank. Rotate plank. Make it look like it attaches into something on the top of this mud. And then you, and you, and all of you get raised up to where this post is. We'll put another plank. No, it's going to be too wide. You can just leave it the way it is. That'll be fine as your attachment point. And then this is beam, round, painted. We can replace you with your 4-meter version. All of these can go, but we need to check your color. 555 and 955. Right, can I select? There we go. We paint you. 555, 955, and then we move you into place. Right about here. Move over to about here. Then duplicate this whole thing. Incredibly, it's cooperating with you, which I love. I need to duplicate this specifically. Slide it over here to look like it attaches to the rock. And then we can just move these over a tiny little bit. You can go. you can move. You can move. Could also maybe paint that board. What color do I want you to be? Yeah, I like this sandy wood better. So that's back fence 1. Give me this again. You're gonna come here. And we'll rotate these around a little bit so that they fit in there better. But you're gonna go to about here. And then you're gonna come down here. You're going to rotate a little bit. And then you're going to terminate here. Looks like we're not exactly on the grid, but we just wiggle you around a bit, we should be able to get it. It's good enough for me. Duplicate you. Move you down here. You can sit about right there. And then we can rotate these things around so that they are flush with the keeper gate. And then we can duplicate them up to the top. Actually, this doesn't need to be the big keeper gate, does it? You can be like small wooden gate. Yeah, alright, so this is going to invalidate the habitat. We're going to have to rename it, add it to work group again, all that fun stuff. But I think this makes more sense thematically. And then we can just hide that post. Maybe not. It's going to be a huge ball ache to try and get this to work, but I think I'm committed to it. So I can hide you in that post. That's good. And then if I just grab this whole thing, I can get you to hide in that post. And then as long as you don't look too closely, well, I can rotate you. Would like to edit this group, please? There we go. And now, even if you do look closely, those look like they're the correct beams. Slide this one over a tiny bit. Oh, it can slide over a tiny bit. Okay. Well, then you can just stay there. Blends in fairly nicely with the back of the zoo. It's not super noticeable. This, I think, can be a larger rock pile. Pull this back here, bring this up a little bit. Let me pull this over here, rotate it so you see a new side of it, bring it up a little bit more. Then we don't actually need this fence at all, or this fence at all. We can go ahead and just grab one of you. This is post? No. Painted square. There it is. Move you up to like there. What color green is this? 416, 23A. And then we'll add a few more rocks at the back rather than a second fence. Otherwise, it does look a little open back there. Something like this. Something like this. That's a good rock shape. What's your name? I gotta remember you. That's Rock 05. Rock 05 is a good rock. Yeah, so there you go. And then maybe like a little bit of small touch-up over here. So, my barriers are in place. I need to rename you. Turn the curbs off. Turn your flattened terrain off. I don't like the way this path hooks anymore. Looks a little cleaner. You are African Spurred Tortoise. And you need to get added to work groups again. Arid Sahara Animal Care. That's you. Get added. And then can I see my animal traversability? Do I even have spurred tortoises in here? Did I leave them all in quarantine? Did I never put them in? I never put them in. You guys can come over here and visit. Oh, never mind. They're just getting boxed up. You guys can come to visit. And then I want to see traversability. Because I'm probably going to need to adjust a few things. So they can climb. I think they can climb up right there. They are better climbers than I gave them credit for. I wonder if we need to think about this differently. Because they can definitely get up there. How bad would cladding? Don't angle snap. Actually, do angle snap. Because you need to flip it like this. I don't like it. It makes it look more fake. How many places can they clamber out of here? Only 2 places. Okay, just fix it by hand in these 2 places then. Grab some of these rocks and lift them up. And then grab these 2 in the front, duplicate them, move them down, spin them a bit so they look different. You can get spun a bit. So you pull that like that. You should be down to 1 place that you can escape now. Still 2 places. Maybe if you just push the train a little over? Does that contribute anything? And then put another rock in to just mask that gap a bit. How about now, friend? Still, really? Huh. You know what? I have an idea, actually. And I think that I like it. We're going to be making mesh again. I know. Don't panic. But I am going to make a very small... It's going to be really, really simple beam, square, thick, I think. Thick is too thick. Give me thin. Here you are. Thin will do. But I only need 1 meter. 1 meter. And then we'll probably have one run across the top, too. Is there a thin square? Thin? Plank thin? Will plank thin do what I want? You know what? Kind of. I think plank thin is sufficient to do what I want. And then breeze block trim at the bottom. Breeze block. Duplicate. It's really thick. No, I want the trim. Yeah. Yeah. This is good. So you're going to get painted in that gray metal color. You are going to get painted in this nice sandy wood color that I like. And then if I duplicate you, you are still on the grid. That's great. So we're going to move you over here. Sink you into the ground a bit. Rotate you around. I'm going to have you go here, and I'm literally just going to fence this in. And that might not seem like an elegant solution, but what I'm going to make it look like is I'm going to make it look like there's a little garden here. We've got some plants and stuff growing. And the reason that we have this fenced off is to keep the turtles from eating it. When the real purpose is that it's keeping them from climbing up these dang rocks. And I think that's going to look pretty good. We'll see. We'll see if I like it or not. But this is going to be really, really simple in terms of how it looks. And we'll clean up the breeze block joins at the bottom after this. I'm just lining up the tops now. We'll deal with the bottoms after this. So that's pretty good. Oh, you never added this thing to a group. That's going to be really annoying. You should have done that first. Now you're going to have to manually select everything. And you can't just area select because there's all kinds of rocks behind it. Which should also probably be in a group in case you want to move all of them up and down. You've really blundered this one. Alright, fine. You don't want to get selected. Doesn't matter. Maybe I can get you from the back. Nope. Alright, you just don't get selected then. You also missed one. Merge into group. Lift it. Leave you there for a second. Bring you back down. You also missed that board. What? Are you in a separate group? Enter group edit mode. No, don't enter group edit mode. Grab all of you, and you, and then you. Merge into group. There you go. And now I can slide this thing around so that I don't have to do any kind of wonky positioning on the ends. Like this. Then, do what you should have done in the first place and turn that into a group. Because you're going to need to make a second one. I also don't like how far it comes out over here. I'm going to change that. All of these can go. So we'll bring you over here. Get your height looking correct. We can adjust the boards on the top in a little bit. Spin you out like that. Spin you in like this. I guess we should make sure that the mesh is hidden inside of our dowels, and that's the most important thing to line up. You. And then let's clean up these joins a bit. You come out and pass, you come out and pass, and then we slide you in until you just barely intersect. And we slide you back until you just barely intersect. And then we do the same thing down on the bottom. Bring you all the way over, out until you just barely clip. And push you back until you just barely clip. And you've got yourself a nice, smooth looking joint. Same thing at the top. And for that one, we can just use the second board that we duplicated. So have a little bit of leftover room. This joint, very messy. Also, the mesh is kind of poking through on that one. Get you over to like there. Pull you back a bit. You're fine. You're fine. The mesh needs to move over a bit. There is good. You can come to like here, and then you need to move back just ever so slightly. There. Now, can you escape? No. Good. And also, it actually fixed all of your escapable areas. So that's great. And now, to make this look a bit more coherent, we can go Desert, Africa, sort by price ascending. We just want to grab a couple small trees to put in here. Like, we haven't really done much with date palms. Maybe we can have this look like a bit more of a palm tree kind of section. That's date palm 3. Can you show me date palm 2? We should switch the order of them. Shorter one should be further up. And then taller one should be further back. And then inside of here, you guessed it, you're gonna have like 2 or 3 Nefaria bushes. Actually, maybe just 1. Look at how well that fits in there. Yeah. You know, it's pretty good. I don't hate it. So how are you feeling about your habitat overall? You do need hard shelter, but I think a burrow gives that to you. So we'll go ahead and get your animal burrow in. And I do not want that to deform terrain, so we're going to put a path down for that to go on top of. Lovely. Is it doing anything weird? No, that's perfect. We'll give you a few small bushes around your burrow as well. Have it look like a fairly sheltered area. And then maybe on the other side, a few smaller rocks. So it looks like it's maybe partially a cave or something like that. What are you? 06? 06 is a good rock. We're learning a lot about good rocks today. Yeah, I like that. You can also have a curio ball down here. Guests will be interested in watching you play with that. You can have your little water drink station over by this oasis. That is almost certainly going to need a path. Maybe have it sit right about here. And then rather than pull it down, because it's going to clip through the ground in weird ways, I'm going to have it sit on top of a little concrete foundation. Give me like the 1x1 concrete square. 1x2 concrete square, that'll do as well. Roll you onto your side. Bring you to just below water level. And then slide you just a little bit back. And then it just looks like it's mounted on something. So it's not floating in the air weirdly. Can have a melon feeder over here. And then back here over by the keeper gate. You can have your actual feeder, and we'll do the same thing with our path. Medium food trough. Raise it up so it's just barely not clipping. And then put it on a concrete foundation. It's a little bigger than we'd want it to be. So you can come out to like here. There we go. So I think, like, that's it. They're at 244 of 215. We are about to add 2 more, though. Also, what happened to you? Oh, because it's opening. Duh. This is not big enough, though. So combine these groups. And then enter group edit mode. Split only this from the group. And then we'll advanced move this. Rotate it a little bit so it comes further back. And then adjust the barrier as well. Which is going to be a big old pain. Actually, a much bigger pain than you thought. Because you can't drag that gate, and they're going to be able to escape here if you move it at all. What if you do like this? And then you do this. And then this. And then are you still valid? Do you still exist? Can you show me your barrier? Yeah, Fennec Fox barrier is still complete. African Spurred Tortoise is also still complete. And you should have a bit more space. 273. Much better. Alright, I'm going to assume that that's good for now. But we probably can't fit any more tortoises in this exhibit, and we're going to have to keep a real close eye on. So last thing that we want to do here is make the guest-facing fence. You, I can get rid of. For the guest-facing fence, I don't just want to, well, like, here it's bordered by 2 mesh fences, and I could just grab this style of fence, but I kind of like that this style of fence is for hoofed animals. So I think I'm just going to make a new kind of fence over here for you. I don't immediately know what I want it to be. I think I want it to have, like, more of a wood motif. We may keep the plaster base. Let's start with the plaster base. I'll build it in 2-meter segments. I'll have you be fairly low to the ground. Definitely would like to use something that's painted. The round brace is a little thick. It's just a little too thick for my taste. Painted beam as well, so we want to use something that's thin. Actually, what if... Where are those bamboo panels? Or like, oh, we could use a decorative strip. Hold on. Hold on a minute. Not tall enough. And you're a little too big. These are just really thick. I could use African fence, but I'd rather make my own. Like, it does look nice, but I would rather make my own. So where is, it's F bamboo? Yeah. How do you work as a fence? If we move you over here and sink you into the ground, how do you look? Looks okay. And then if you have thin painted, can we get it to look like it's coming through one of these pieces of bamboo? Yes. So I like that. I like that quite a bit. And then can I add rough rope? Rough rope large. You know what? That's pretty good. Change your color. I want you to be a little darker here, actually. Yeah. And then you... We probably wouldn't want this to look like steel cord in this case. We might just want it to look like lighter rope. And then if I turn you into a group... How well do you tile? You aren't quite on the grid, which annoys me. But that's okay, I can line some of these up. I'm not sure if I like it or not. Let's look at some of our other bamboo up. Fundamentally, I like this structure, though. I like this. This is something that I'm a fan of. I can do something with this. I just want to figure out what else I want to do. What if we just look at the Africa theme? What is in the Africa theme that we could use here? That would make a halfway decent wall. Seeing anything? Not really. Definitely don't want to use grid pieces. Definitely don't want to use windows. Sign editable? Way too big. Doors? Probably not. Cloth? Probably not. What if you just used a bunch of sticks? No, I do not like how that looks at all. Definitely do not do that. Bead bend? No. Branch, maybe? Hold on. If we sink you down a bit. Hey, no. No, but it's not like desert themed, right? We're still in the arid section. I think that would be really good if it was like African Spurred Tortoise somewhere else, but we're not somewhere else. We're still in the desert. Are you corrugated sheet? Definitely not corrugated sheet. That looks horrible. Maybe you do just keep it simple. But then if you're going to keep it simple, you know what? I'm just going to go grab the wall from the ungulate section. All that for nothing. This wall's fine. It's sufficient to look robust enough to stop guests from getting in. And again, say it with me. Cohesion. Split you from group. Let's move you. I do not need to angle snap here. So you're going to go down to about here. That rope is slightly off-center. Actually, everything here is slightly off-center. What the heck? You can come a little bit in. Oh, I see why you're off-center now. It's because otherwise it cuts off the beam. Yeah, so you can come like halfway back. This rope can come slightly out, though. You. Duplicate an advanced move. You're not going to be on the grid, but that's fine, because we're going to need to do a bit of rotation for you anyway. We don't want you to exactly follow grid here. I'm going to spin you out this way a little bit. Spin you out like this a little bit. Probably didn't need to take the time to line that up first, but oh well. And then also you could let simulation run here. Make yourself a little extra money, possibly even pay our loan back today. This is going to be a weird join. Yeah, you're going to need to start turning in here. Just because this wall piece is so dang long. As you can go like there. Stop angle snap. We'll come around to about here. Line up about here. Let's keep sliding these along until we get to some rocks that we can hide it in. It actually happened last placement. Swing you around like this. And then grab just this guy, who's not gonna have any idea where his grid is, but that's okay. But it's just gonna join in here. Yeah, so dead simple wall. And this area badly needs to get decorated. Up here at the top, we should have fine sand. Inside your habitat, how are you feeling? You're good. We could actually get rid of some of this short grass, and I don't like the way that the short grass looks in here, so let's move it over to the back. Push the sand up a little bit more. And you really don't want rock. So we'll just leave it like this. For nature, we can have one big tree. Show me desert. Show me Africa. Sort by descending. Classic seed needs frankincense. Can't find a staff room with suitable area. I'm researching big staff rooms, right? Hopefully. Mechanic research? What you working on right now? Yes, staff facilities. Good. I think we're going to be replacing both of our small staff centers with large staff centers very soon. Also, this fence doesn't need to be that close to the path. You really want to move it? Yeah, I really do want to move it. It's gonna suck, but I do think I want to adjust it. No, not up, down. Yeah, I know. I know there's an important alert that requires... No, don't duplicate. Look what you've done. So you can go about here. And then grab all of these. Please. Please. Thank you. Please. People, I need you to move. I have important work to be doing. We'll grab it later. We're going to join you in to here. And then we can move you to here. And then we can get this out of here. And then I can move these barriers in as well. You can go to about there. You can go to here. You can go to here. And this doesn't affect their habitat space, or at least it shouldn't, because this was never traversable for them in the first place. So they never really recognized it as space that they could use. We should be A-okay. The only thing that annoys me is that I can't get the path closer as a result. But instead of doing that, we can add some nature fill around here. We can make it look like this is just a very rugged section of the zoo. So you wouldn't really want to walk over here anyway. A little something over here. That's way too big. I also going to change the color of this plaster. I want it to blend in better with this rock. Make you like a red, a brownish red. More red than that. Oh, that's perfect. You got it in two. Yeah. Yeah, much better. Get a bit of drin grass in here as well. Random rotation. Don't angle snap. Scatter it all over the place here. Something like that. And then you can put in your habitat signage. So grab one of these, duplicate it, give it a little rotate. This one we're not going to hide inside any other posts or anything like that. This is just where it's going to be. Your content should be wide AF. Your content should be African. We'll line it up with where that post is, sink it into the ground. Pick you, slide you over to here about. And put you like in front of the tree. Something like this. Check your noise radius. You can have this one be a little louder. Go up to 11 on that. Sink it into the ground. Duplicate one more time. Pull one down to the end of the path over here. Scooch it back a little bit. Noise radius for you is a little too loud. We'll pull you back to 8. And then we'll hide you. Move these bins around. These you could actually get off the path. We've got so much extra real estate over here. Okay. Yeah, I know. We're working on it. Then how much vegetation can you handle in here? A little bit more. I really want to beef up the vegetation in the back in that place. Maybe this is our opportunity to use one big salt cedar bush. And then we need to flesh it out at the bottom with a bit more greenery. I don't want to use a super used frankincense tree there though. Maybe just a huge nitraria. That'll look like the base of the tree. It's just like brambles back here, basically. This gives it a little bit more interesting scenery going on in the back. Maybe also makes the wall back there a bit less noticeable for where the keepers come in. Fennec Fox up to 4. I want to do a little bit more in here. Not much, but a little bit. Give me a very small rock. Sort by price ascending. I want to roughen up this side of the wall. so it doesn't look quite so smooth. We'll alternate our colors around a little bit here too. Here, and then come down to here. Have a big one that sticks out like here. There. Just looks a little more rough around the edges. Less manufactured. So that's African Spurred Tortoise, basically. We have a lot of scenery stuff we're going to need to put in at the back here. And what it's probably going to be is a sunshade with a rock wall behind it. That's going to do a bit of obfuscation with like the guest services back there. We can go triple bench. We can move this donation bin to here. Move to here. Oh, you're also going to need an animal talk point. Why don't you give an animal talk over here? Again, just keep it off the beaten path. It's going to minimize how disruptive it is to guests trying to path around. You are going to be African Spurred Tortoise. Oh. Your educational content is Spurred Tortoise. And then what are our talk timings like right now? Animal talks. February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December, January, February, March. So this should be April. And then we have animal talks every 2 months. And then we'll add you back into a work zone. Are you animal care? Are the other talks in animal care? They are. That should technically be guest services, I guess. But, oh well. And then grab your sunshade, which you helpfully blueprinted. But you may want to grab these instead, because they're more freestanding. You can rotate these. Line you up with the back of this bench. And then have a second one that goes right here and just overlaps with it. So it provides a little shape. Doesn't really look like it does, but it does. And then you can come in here and grab both of these. Ooh, maybe not both of those. Maybe one of those. That looks good though. And then the second thing that we want to do today is we want to set up a habitat animal. We want to put in a Sacred Scarab Beetle. So go animal exhibits, exhibit. Definitely do not want you snapping the grid. Thank you for your interest, but no thank you. We want to hide you behind the trim. And then we want to attempt to center you. Should be roughly like this. And then get rid of that path. We'll just have this path that leads into it. You're going to need your breeze block, breeze breeze. I wish I had a 1x4, but I think a 2x4 will actually work. Look at it. Duplicate. That's all wrong. How about you just add it to the habitat itself, and then you line up from there. That'll do. You're gonna go like this. And then we need to bring you all the way down to... This doesn't need to be the 4-piece. You can do a 1x2 here. You have random rotation on? You do. That's why everything's getting screwed up. You to here. You to here. This is actually going to come in a bit because I wanted these pillars to stick out. So it's just barely going to cover the front of this. I think that looks perfect. We'll bring this all the way across the bottom. Then we'll do plaster. This is going to be our 1x4 strip. Going to be about in the middle. This is going to frame the habitat box. So it's going to go here and here. Your color needs to be what? 9F835C. There you go. Duplicate you. Slide you here and here. And then grab your trim. Trim in place. It's kind of going to fit. You can go like this. And like this. And then I think it's mirrored on the bottom. No, it's not mirrored on the bottom. It would go like this. And like this. And then on the inside, obviously, you need to mask this whole thing, which I'm going to do in the laziest way possible. With just plaster. Plaster floor to ceiling. Nobody can ever see in here anyway. No one will ever know. Sandcat. Done. Also, I should carry through this. Like that. Yeah. Now nobody has any idea this is here. And then we go view exhibit animal market. Sacred. How many of these can we have at the same time? 1 to 25. Alright. We'll do like 3 and 3 then. 2 and 2. I'll grab Hanan, Nura, Nazir, Cleo. I'm pretty sure you don't even need to quarantine these things. That they're chilling. Exhibit trading. Exhibit animal storage. There you go. Yeah, you cannot quarantine. We'll just put them all in here. We'll go into layout. We'll go into customize. Window 1 is here. It's going to be 2D facade. No, we'll do it all 3D facade. That looks cool. Window 2 is front window. Window 3, 3D facade. Window 4, 3D facade. And then I might need to adjust this plaster just a little bit. Yeah, it needs to come out just a little more. So these split from their group. These split from their group. These split from their group. And then these 3 merge into group. Move them out and move them over so that the rocks are not poking out of them. It's like this, but I think you need a painted dowel in there somewhere. Painted beam. Duplicate. I think you want a cleaner joint. So that it actually looks like... So that you can tell where the glass starts and ends, basically. It's like this. They'll even pull you out a little bit. And then over a little bit to hide that overhang. So you would go here. Your color is going to be this gray that we're working with. Doesn't exactly look like metal, but it's pretty close. We'll do another one over here. And then we'll do a third one here. That is going to act as the interior frame. There. Now it looks a bit less like it's, you know, 3D coming out of the screen at you. Facilities. Media devices. Exhibit education board. Educational content. Sacred Scarab Beetle. Should maybe get a speaker in for that thing. But oh well. Right next to this, we'll have an animal talk for it. Sacred Scarab Beetle talk. Zoo. Work zones. Animal care. Boom and boom. You are Sacred Scarab Beetle exhibit. No, we'll just call you Sacred Scarab Beetle. And then what time do we want that talk to happen? We can't space any 2 months anymore because we now have, you know, 7 talks. So I think that Sacred Scarab Beetle is just going to have to be January, and we'll cross our fingers that we have the educators to handle that. So now we can truly let things run. And what's this? Animals not ideal for doing. Oh yeah, you have to set settings on these. You want to be in 27 degrees. And you want to be at 50% humidity. There. Now you're better. Staff having the queue to use Keeper Hut. We need that research to finish. We don't have enough Keeper Huts. It's time to expand these Keeper facilities in a pretty significant way. Unfortunately, we've got the money for it. Unless... Okay, I have 43. You know what? I will. There, we're debt-free. We're debt-free. It's April. We should be able to earn, like, $15,000 this month. Everybody has decided to leave all at the same time. They all need a drink. Oh, okay. They also need bins. I guess we have kind of been sleeping on bins placement. I also want to get some plants around this area. Drin? Small drin grass? No, small drin grass. Yeah. And then random rotate that. We'll do a little bit of touch-up around the sandcat. It's looking a little neglected. Maybe also a small nitro article. Go down here, we can do a little bit of century plant. Dragon's Blood 3 is a little big. Silver Tree 3 is much cuter. And then maybe around the animal info foods, we can do a little bit of pink preview. A little more grass. Just get this area looking like something so it's not quite so barren. A little bit of aloe vera as well, perhaps. Dry nitraria. Green grass. Really not a lot of... way too big. Not a lot of plants that you can put in desert regions. I also don't like the fact that this is grass. This should be sand. It's because we earmarked it for that. But still. Are you still okay with that terrain? Yes. And then let's also go grab your friend, because your friend should be well and truly out of quarantine. Also, why is enrichment so sad? Do I just not have toys for you? No, I have so many toys for you. I guess I just forgot to put them in. Here, you can have a bamboo feeder. Over here. You can have a blood scent marker over here. You're gonna need a path for that. You can have a tennis ball. Maybe over here at the bottom of your little stairs. I can see to 150 of 110. It's good enough. Low on cash, I'm aware. That's not going to be a problem forever. Looking pretty good. We're already up to $5,000. Should maybe do a little bit of animal maintenance as well here. Like we probably... Oh, we already did population control on AdX. What about on my Scimitar Horned Orc? So they're also managing population here. Although you two can actually get donated. Because I don't think we want more than one male. I'll take my conservation credits, please. Mechanic research is done. Please be the one that gives me big keeper hut. 17 items, that's promising. Facilities. Staff. No blueprints. Keeper hut large. Okay. Now we can do something. You will just barely fit if I move that path around a little bit. And you're 4,000, so I can't afford you. Demolish. That path needs to go. Oh, you're obstructed by the path in front. And then we'll probably want to put all of this path on a grid. And then we can just have it connect back in here. And then we'll need to connect this back up. I wonder if I could sneak a connection through there. I don't think I can. Unfortunate. So now we go and add this back into the work zone. This will be animal care for sure. So we should no longer have a queue to use the keeper set. But we did not get the larger staff building, which is annoying, because that's the one we kind of need. All things considered, though, I think this is going fairly well. While we wait for money to roll in, and also while we wait for the end of the month, that research done, that's Fennec Fox 5. Good. I'm going to grab my blueprint over here. I'll grab about 6 of you. My camel is about to have offspring. I put them on population control, right? Because they actually are going to get mad if there's too many people in that habitat. We should go double check that. Let me just put this in as a placeholder. And then split it from its group. But with the spare time that we have, it's split. With the spare time that we have here, we can start working on some of the decorating that we're going to want to do next episode. You can now be in contraceptives. Otherwise, we're going to have too many camels. So we're going to need to decorate this section of the zoo up. In the next episode. And since we finished up both of those habitats relatively quickly, we can get a little bit of a head start on. I like that somehow in copying and pasting these bricks, they have managed to become uneven. There's a very kind of jaunty pattern to them. Here. I'm just gonna pull these all along the side. A Fennec Fox is preventing others from breeding. God, it's always something, isn't it? What's the problem in here? That you're alphas. Okay. These two can get donated. Or released, you know, whatever. You are infertile because you're too old. I will rehome you because you're old. Off you go. And now, the other one should be able to breed because he was not related. But we may need to buy new Fennec Foxes in case they have become too old in general. Get a little bit more precision here with this corner. God, there's still so much longer to go. We'll put this one down a couple more times, and then we'll make it bigger. Every time I put it down, I want to adjust the angle just slightly. So that it has a little bit of like, ooh, what's going on? When you copy and paste it down. You have random rotation, don't you? Or maybe the rotation average is just really funky right now. Because now every time we slide this thing down, it is going to inherit some of the weird rotation from its earlier counterpart. And then we can adjust the weird rotation a little further even. How are you being prevented from breeding again? What is going on in this Fennec fox habitat? You're fine. You did it. Although you are infertile. Yeah, you're going to get more Fennec foxes. Fennec fox. Frontier Zoo won't be related. Frontier Zoo won't be related. Frontier Zoo won't be related. Grab a couple of them. They don't live super long. You're going to want a few. Stop that. Not a duplicate. Let's slide these back a little bit. Okay, looking good. You're like halfway done. Now you can select all of these. And you can start coming back down the other way. Move those down a bit. And then use this as your unit for a while. Minus the tall one at the end. Pull this out a bit. So it hugs that corner a little closer. And then you can just rotate these two. Make it look like a slightly nicer join. These 5 can come out of it. And these 4 can also shift over a little bit. These 5 can probably also come out a little bit. Then we can rotate you around, slide you around a little bit. You can get rotated around a little bit. You also could use a little bit of a rotation. It's coming along. You move your Fennec foxes into quarantine? I don't actually know. Check after this. Alright, that's that area done. And ready to receive a few plants. Check your animal storage. You did not. The 3 of you can come to quarantine. And then did you get any new Fennec Fox items that you might put in here? When you did their research. You get a bubble machine, and that's it. Not really anything. Also, you forgot to set up automated population control on your school fields. So we'll aim for 3 and 3. We'll sell extras for cash. Oldest first. Sell extras for cash. Nice first. Inspector's gone. How are we doing on our inspections lately anyway? Scimitar Horned Oryx education is a little lacking. I don't think I can do a lot about that. There's some big trees back here. Date palm... You know, for the back, date palm not actually too flashy. I'll settle for date palms back here. I want a few little rock decorations in the middle. We use some of the bigger rocks and sink most of them into the ground. We should be able to make something out of what's left over. Something like that. And then bury some Natraria in there. Grab like the biggest bush you can and sink it until it doesn't stick out. No, that looks horrible. Use smaller ones. And then even smaller ones through here. A bit of dead ones. We can do a second rock decoration over here. Give me a nice long boy. Isn't there a long boy I like better? You're too long. But if I were to rotate you, no, you're still not right. You'll do though. You'll do just fine. And then a couple more Nitraria. Maybe a few century plants in the corner. Century plants kind of interesting. If expensive. Also, let's have them not float. There we go. We'll do a little bit more Nitraria in here. And then we'll fill in some of the gaps with some green grass. Green grass large. Sink it. It's barely pops coming out. We want this place to look a little greener because it is kind of, you know, not explicitly an oasis, but it's where the guests can come to get a little bit of that oasis experience. That research is done. That's Fennec Fox 6 of 6. Let's go ahead and work on a Sandcat. And then we're at December 22nd. We should get lights in this plaza. We also have a lot of decoration to do back here. We earmarked ourselves room for extra shops, but we don't have power. So it's going to be a challenge to have something go in that spot that can actually get power. We'll have to rethink what we want to do. We have 2 concurrent talks going. I love that. That's great. You're hanging out. You're hanging out. You look a little tired. You okay? Yeah. But that's where we're going to leave it off. We are making money hand over fist at this point. We made $66,000 in income this year. Our donations are steadily increasing ever since we spent extra attention on looking at our education, putting down speakers, things like that. There is still a ton of marketing that we can do as well. We could start explicit marketing campaigns. We could also get webcams and use habitats. The last thing I am going to do is I'm going to promote everybody. Everybody who's currently a 1-star is getting a promotion to a 2-star. Because I think at this point we have the budget to afford it. Especially some of our vendors. Our vendors are very, very overworked right now. And we might even want to get a few more of those. But as we wrap up this section of the zoo, this section of Arid Sahara specifically, it's time to make sure that our guest facilities are fairly robust, that our animal care regimens are good, and that in general the zoo is kind of operating well as we get ready to expand out to this new section, because we're going to be, you know, not touching this area for a while. It's just going to sit here and it's going to do its thing and it's going to make us a bunch of money. And every once in a while, we'll drop back in to do a little bit of animal care. But for the most part, we're going to be on to the next stuff. So last task we're going to do here is I'm going to fix the Sandcats up off camera. I'm going to turn that into a square cage. And then when we come back, we're going to do a slightly longer episode. It's probably going to be somewhere closer to 3 hours, maybe 4 hours. That is going to be decorating all of these little in-between areas in the park. So it's going to be fill in here, around here, through here. We'll have a little bit of fill here. Big fill in here, especially because I want to unlock the larger staff buildings. And then a little bit of fill back here and along here, just to really bring the level of polish up. In addition to that, we'll also be detailing the inside of the Fennec Fox shelter, and we will be detailing the inside of the Sandcat shelter to make it look like an area that the animals actually use to come inside when they're resting, or when the weather outside is inclement, or other things like that. So next episode is going to be pretty heavy on detailing, since we are now done with all of our habitats. And then after that, we will be moving on to the next areas of the zoo, whatever those end up being. So if you're looking forward to that, make sure you subscribe to the channel and you like this video to let me know that you are enjoying the Planet Zoo content. If you have suggestions on what we should do in our final detailing pass for this area, or you have suggestions for what section of the zoo we should work on next, drop me a comment, and I'll see you in the next one. But until then, take care, enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you next time.